Welcome to Expansive Minds Podcast, Gateway to Freedom, a podcast where two friends, Aileen and Nancy, explore and expand beyond what they think they know in order to live a life of freedom. Thank you for joining us, and away we go.
In today's episode, Nancy and Aileen talk about matter follows energy, awareness, love, embracing the energetic truth and aspirations of ourselves, and recognizing that the people who are best support us are the people we have synergy and most fun with.
Good morning. We're here. We're laughing because I'm coughing. I'm already moving energy. So, yeah.
Well, and that could be a good thing we could talk a little bit about. But do you want to do our...
yes, let's set the intention. Okay. So, this morning, it is our intent to be channels of love and light and joy and fun for our upliftment and the upliftment of all with the harm to none. Off we go.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what I was thinking when you, just now, with
yes,
your
because
coughing.
we're like, what do we want to talk about? Just before Gabby set us up to roll. Well, what do you want to talk about? And she said, you know what? Let's wait and see, which is just really fun when you've got cameras going. Let's just wait and see if we have something to talk about. So, it's all you.
Yeah, because you started it with the coughing, which was great.
In here.
So right when Gabby said for us to start, then we were ready, and then Nancy was like,
We're so ladylike.
But you brought it to really what it is, which is in working with people with energy, and we can talk about energy today. We haven't really talked much about energy.
Sure.
So when I'm working with people doing energy medicine, energy balancing, it's just physics. Yes, bodies will do things. And as a practitioner, it's really great if people start coughing or people's stomachs start gurgling, or even if they fart, you know. It's just like,
I was going to say tears, not fart, but tears.
Tears.
Yeah.
We know that the body is moving, action is happening. And that feels great because it's better than stagnation.
Yes.
You know?
So interestingly enough, this morning when I left the house, I found myself grabbing my Louise Hay book. You heal your body. So I do have it. I don't know if we need to pull it out. And I just tucked it in my purse in case we wanted to talk about it. But then I was like, I don't want to talk about ailment or symptoms. But I think it is kind of prudent now to use it just as yet another tool. So the concept is, and I think we might have touched on this in a previous podcast. And you had a great expression that I said we were going to trademark. Make it.
Oh, deal with an issue before it becomes a tissue.
What is it?
Yeah, deal with an issue before it becomes a tissue.
Deal with an issue before it becomes a tissue. So the idea, as you do your body work and people have physical discomfort and physical ailments, we haven't dealt with the issue and it's moving into the tissues of our body, which is your body saying, hello, there's something we need to fix. You're blocking your natural flow of well-being. And not that we really want to get in our head and figure it out, because like Abraham Hicks says, if you try to get to the bottom of something, there is no bottom. And you will discover vast caverns that you never knew existed. But simply to take it from the subconscious into the conscious and say, I have a cough, let's say. And if I open my Louise Hay book, I can't recall exactly, but it may have something to do with me finding my voice. Maybe I'm not speaking my truth. That might be, and actually, here we go. But ironically, this morning when I pulled the card, and yesterday, I'm seeing lions everywhere.
Lions?
Lions,
Oh.
not actual.
You're not the only person that has said that.
Lions.
Yes.
Okay, so I pulled the card on the lions.
Oh, well, is it Lionsgate time? Astrologically?
I don't know. Well, the card I did pull this morning was, I found myself, I never know what deck I'm going to gravitate to. And I went for my Archangel deck, and I happened to pull Archangel Ariel, and the topic was courage. The subject is courage, and it's speaking your truth definitively. And she said Archangel Gabriel being all like in warrior mode, you know, you are a warrior of truth. And she, you know, just looked, and she had lions around her. I'm like, oh, isn't that interesting? Because yesterday I kept seeing lions such that I looked up in my animal deck.
Lion medicine.
Lion medicine. So
Metaphysical.
what is Lion's Gate?
Well, can I jump back to something?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So, thoughts on how to speak about our vitality and well-being.
Okay.
Instead of perhaps saying ailments and issues, if we gently look at it as dis-ease, we're not at ease.
Right. Let's even pull it up a level. It's an
Want to keep
indicator.
ease.
It's
Right.
an indicator.
You're like, oh, I'm just not
It's-
totally comfortable.
Yeah,
And so,
it's your soul, your innate being communicating with you that
Exactly.
some stuff going on that you want to shift energetically, and we just let it go a little bit longer than maybe we could have let it go, and that's why it presented itself as an ailment. So we, you know, but now it can be turned around on a dime.
Yes.
Yes.
It can be turned around. And so the piece around, yes, shifting it and recognizing that when we are aligned, and aligned just means that we're in our power. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I need to read 12 million books about this or pay
meditate.
billions of dollars to go get my chakras aligned. You can do all that because it's fun, right? But let's not get attached to it because we have full control of doing it ourselves.
Right.
And with loving practice and awareness.
Right. And the true, we talked about this before too, but I think it is worth speaking again. Healers don't heal you. Right. You heal you.
Yes. Yes.
Healers remind you of who you are. They hold the space and invite you up. So yeah, you can do you. It's in you.
Exactly. When I work with people, what I say to them is I say, I'm translating your energy. I'm translating your thoughts. So for me, I see myself as a translator of vibration into language. So it's not me saying, oh, this is the problem, or this is this, or I think, because who am I to say what is right for somebody else? I'm really tuning in to what I'm picking up on. And what that looks like is, and for people who want to learn more about maybe talking to gods or dead people or all that kind of stuff, this is a good way to begin to discern the difference between when our ego says, this thing is this way. And you often run into that if we're trying to connect to someone who has died and we're worried, like, am I making this up in my head because I want to think this person is, you know, visiting me or talking to me? Or is it actually really happening? So this is a way that I talk to people about it. If it's coming from intuition, your higher self, a guide, an alien, a dead person, another source, whatever you want to say, like a consciousness that is outside of our own psyche ego, it will feel like you're sitting in a movie theater and there's like a curtain, and it will feel like you're observing what's happening. So we don't know. When I'm surprised,
Yes.
that's a really good sign that it's not my ego. If it was my ego saying, you know, your son is telling you this, I wouldn't be surprised, right? I would be making it up
Yes.
from what I created in my own head happens.
Yes.
Very different. So when I am, obviously I'm talking now about talking to people that have died, when I'm translating it, I'm like, I'm in it. I'm surprised. I'm kind of taken away by the emotion. I'm in awe. I mean, I'm like, yeah, because I'm so blown away by the opportunity to meet and be in relationship with another person.
Yes.
You know, it's like I'm talking to the client who's in front of me in like a human form, and the relationship that they have and the healing that can transpire between someone who's no longer in physical form, it is
Humbling.
so
Yeah.
gorgeous, and it feels like a golden, first time it happened, it was like this golden light that just enveloped the person, and I just happened to be like in the middle. I was like,
neat.
oh man, the love from this person's mother.
Yes.
That was the first time it happened to me. To him,
Yes.
I was like, I don't want to ever get out of this. This is incredible.
Aw,
Yeah,
you got to be
how
part
much
of the
comes.
family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you can apply that as well to intuition for our own health and our own ego. Because if it's ego, and we can talk a little bit about this too.
Yeah.
The ego says you shouldn't eat that food because it's going to cause this to you. Well, right? We can
Right.
transform the energy of food.
Absolutely.
It's all just, it's physics. It's just a vibrational wave. Everything.
Right.
This is a vibrational wave. This is a vibrational wave. I'm a vibrational
And
wave.
it's the translation of it or the belief around it.
Yes.
That they, over the years, as a fitness instructor, personal trainer, fitness studio owner, there are a multitude of recommended diets, recommended food, and for every study that says this food is good for you, there are studies that say this food is bad for you.
Such an important thing
And
to
what it
say.
boils down to is your belief.
Right.
Your belief, and I don't want to say placebo effect, but something to that
Absolutely,
effect. I mean, when
yes.
I worked in pharma tech, I saw the most amazing circumstances of, we used to do, I was in a core imaging lab, and so we would bring cancer patients in, image them, and give them their, they would get their drug at the hospital, they would get imaged, and we would track the images. And one in particular, I remember an instance of this particular cancer drug and images of brains, and this gentleman, they said, this drug is working. It's working in the other can. The man's tumors, you could just see them on the scans, started to shrink. And then they came out and they said, it's actually not working. And then the man died 2 weeks later.
Yes.
So the belief around the modality, it's not the modality.
And where
it's
we
the
give our
belief around
power
the
to.
modality.
Where we give our
Yes.
power to.
Yes.
I saw this Candid Camera episode a long time ago, and I found it astounding. I love to learn just from experience and paying attention.
I think you spoke of
I think I've
this
talked about this before,
one of our
right?
podcasts
Yes.
about- yeah.
So in comes this man into a retail store. I mean, they put this guy, an actor, but he had the white coat on,
They
a doctor.
dressed him like a doctor,
Yeah, they
yeah.
had the stethoscope on, and he would just walk up to people who were shopping and say, hold out your tongue, and the people would. And it was just this amazing example of conditioning and who we turn our power over to.
Yes.
And so I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and it just spot on what you're saying too about diets and things. It's if we go to someone because we want to learn something, and just because they're in the healing and magical world doesn't mean that they're not poorly behaved. You have to everywhere. So if someone says, this is the way, this is the only way, you can only get to it by working with me. It's no,
Red
thank
flag.
you.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
No, thank you, right? Take what the gift is there, and then get out, because that is absolutely not true.
Right. And I also think when you were talking about when a healer or a reader taps in, and you want to be aligned before you tap in, right? Because the laws of physics are such that everything that has ever existed continues to exist. So it's out there in they don't call it the ethers anymore, in the field. So every good thought and every bad thought. And Abraham Hicks has said, if you think you're talking to us and you get something other than love and joy and upliftment, it ain't us.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that you're not tapping in, you're just tapping into a different frequency. So you think you're listening to Kiss 108 and you're on 92.9. So you need to bring that frequency up. I was listening to a cryon on the way in this morning, and he was saying the frequency of the entire globe is up. So healers might be experiencing I can't seem to tap in like I used to, or I'm having a hard time. It's because everything went up. You've got to get your booty up there too. So I have, because I was saying, I don't feel as connected, and it's because everything went up and I've got to catch up. to a level that I didn't even know we could get to before.
Yeah, it's just dropping some of the frequencies that are a little heavier. So slower. So I equate that to if we're in a hot air balloon and we're like, and then it's like, oh, I want to go up over that mountain, but there's too much weight. There's too much heaviness in the hot air balloon. So you know what you do? You throw the sandbags over.
Nice.
Throw it over without judgment. Just like throw it over, and then whoop, then you see yourself go. And to that point, I had a perfectly timed exchange with someone who does energy and massage, and he and I had been wanting to connect for a while now, and so yesterday he worked on me first, I worked on him second, and it was just great. And again, to your point, that I keep doing the work, I keep showing up to learn more, I keep like dumping sandbags, and the honesty and the authenticity, which is why I love that we get to do this together, because that's our relationship. Very open. And so when I was talking to him about what was going on for me, I mentioned a spot on my back that I put in golf balls under at night to break it open. I was like, I just can't seem to get this thing moving. And I also talked about these portals that I see opening. The last 2 days, a lot of people are like, whoosh,
oh, that's cool.
Just meeting people, getting offered jobs. And I looked and I just said, yeah, I feel like, there's a portal for me. I just want to line up a little bit more to that portal. Like, what is it? Like, let's have fun. Let's have fun.
And this is where a healer or another person coming in to work on it with you, because you can't see because you're right in front of your own face, and you're stuck in who you think you are.
Yes.
So here comes this outside source, and awesome. Yeah.
And it's playing together. That's the other thing. And we have fun, and that's why we talk about laughing. While it's sincere and focused, it doesn't have to be like serious and like scolding and shaming. Like spiritual work is
It would be exactly opposite.
Yes, it's revelation.
If it is serious and scolding and shaming, then again you're tapped into the wrong source, because it's not the source.
Right, and I'll share this piece that happened yesterday because I think it's just important to share. Because we also talk about like role modeling. Just the point is just to be ourselves and talk about it.
Yeah.
So he was working on me, and he does meditation. He does like a visualization guided meditation while he's doing his work. So he's working, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And then he gets to my thighs, and he's talking about. I think he was up here talking about my thighs. Doesn't matter. But the guided meditation was about like, oh, and the strength in your thighs. And then I just started laughing because I'm like a mom and a grandma now, and I've had some adventures with like sweets and food and all sorts of stuff. So I've gained weight, and I've got like a different body shape and everything. And I just busted out laughing. And he said, oh, well, we got something there. We found something there. And I laughed. I was like, are you sure you're looking at my thighs? And I said, I hear what you're saying. I go, I used to have these warrior's thighs, and now I have Pillsbury Doughboy thighs, And so he started laughing, and I started laughing. And then what came from that, as we talked a little later on, as we were like after he did the meditation, he also was noting things about describing my calves and my feet, and I was so identifying with him, but also sort of like, oh. And as it turned out, what came up for me, and I'd been thinking about it the day before anyway, was that I missed dancing. So dancing point, very kind of disciplined ballet, is something that was always important to me that I did for a long time. And so just the day before I had the exchange with him, I was thinking, how can I fit it in? But how can I find the right studio, the right ballet studio for me? And this is a part of me, perhaps this portal piece, that is important to my spirit, is important to my story. And he saw that because he was describing my thighs and my legs as dancer legs. And he was saying that for himself, he was saying, funny, I've never described people's legs in the same way I was describing yours. And he's a dancer himself.
Oh, that's cool.
So he was seeing in the energy perhaps my portal, this vibration that I'm moving into, my intention, is my dancer's legs. Is the dancing, is that part of flow that's really important to my alignment. So he was seeing it, even though it wasn't energetically it was energetically what was presenting, but not necessarily form.
Right.
So through me projecting that and identifying with it, him seeing it as the guide, as the support, as the witness. So we could actually say healers aren't necessarily healers, they're witnesses to our best selves, and they mirror back to us, which is why it's important that they're aligned, which you said already. When he's aligned with love and light, he can see my love and light self, mirror it back to me, witness it with me, and then it really empowers me to know it can be true.
Right.
Does that all make sense?
It does.
Yeah. So that's what I went through yesterday. It was beautiful.
Super cool.
Oh, it was so great.
That's nice. And like we always say, matter follows energy.
Yes.
So he energetically was already there, right? So he's already seeing you dance in the studio, and now you just got to catch up in your form.
Yes, and it was the body part. He was describing the energy he saw in my legs and the energy form of my legs.
Right. That's amazing.
And so when we look in the mirror, if we keep saying, well, my legs look like this now because I'm like a grandmother and I'm almost, I'm 58 and this is what happens. It's like, well, sure, I'll make myself go there if that's what I say.
Right.
But this other part was vibrating.
Right.
And he could see it because he can translate energy.
Right.
Does this all make sense?
It does.
And it ties into everything we're talking about.
It ties into everything, which is like, now I'm kind of trying to decide where I want to go within it, because when I was listening to Crown, he's like, you can talk to the cells of your body. You can, you're the captain of your ship, and the cells are just waiting for a command.
Yes.
So, and he says, forgive me if I've brought this up on a previous podcast, he calls it call, C-A-L, cells are listening.
Oh, I
so
love
he'll
that.
say, call your cells.
That's brilliant.
And say, get those thighs into dancer legs.
Right.
Or whatever it is you want.
Yes, exactly.
And you can, according to Cryon, now with the frequency being so high, and you setting intention, aligned intention, you can command your body to do what it needs to do.
Yes, and tying into what we talked about last time, the energy of it, it's like the joy and the vibration is, for me, the story of dance really is like, oh, I'm just doing it because it resonates and it flows through me in a way that I could see myself by myself in the woods doing it.
It used to be a form of prayer, right?
Yes, yes.
A form of worship.
Yes. Instead of saying, well, I need to get in shape so I can look good in a bathing suit and post it on Instagram and show everybody, look, I can also get back into ballet. It's like, no, it's not about anybody else.
Yes.
It's about me.
Yes.
Right?
It's interesting that you brought up the topic of weight and body. As you know, when I owned the studio and I closed it just after COVID, and I'm not where I used to be as well. And I went through quite the gamut. Well, I'll just make peace with it. I mean, it's not my business anymore, and I have a normal body now. And then I'm like, yeah, but I really felt like the way I felt when I was in my best shape, when I owned the studio. But is it realistic that I'm going to hit my body as hard? And I've tried to go back, and my body is sort of rejecting the intense types of workouts I used to do.
Good point.
So I called the cells. I'm like, all right, look it. So if you're not going to let me hit my body hard like I did before, but I like the way I felt when I was carrying that particular body mass index, it felt good. I felt mobile and nimble and limber. So I want that back, and I don't know how to go about doing it, but and get to it. And then, like, of course, as usual, if the universe gives you clues, and I received a meditation. I'm in the middle of my 21-day. I've been digging these.
The tapping?
It came, okay, so the tapping guy said, hey, our friend, what is his name? John Gabriel has a new meditation series out for weight loss, and it's a 21-day thing. And I like when I have a 21-day challenge or duration, because sometimes it gives me a plan.
Right.
Sometimes I go on my porch to meditate every morning like I do, and it's like, what do I want to do today? I don't know. Whereas it's almost like if you have a plan and a goal, okay, well, I'm still in the middle of my challenge. I'm going to just hit the next day of the challenge. Sometimes I do guided meditation. Sometimes I just do my own thing.
Yeah.
But I started this, I think I'm on day 12 of this John Gabriel's losing weight meditation. And it is not what I thought it would be. I thought it would be, today it's going to focus on motivating you to exercise and motivating you to eat the right food. And every day it has been more esoteric, to the point where I think this meditation could be used for not just weight loss, in general. And the very first day was, I'm safe.
Oh,
the first day of meditation, I'm safe, because
cortisol stress.
And stress is going to affect how you digest. So he's just got these general, fluffy concepts, but you can tell underneath he's got a plan, and it's really doing something on many levels. So like safety, it being in this industry, some people, I've had people with trauma come to me to work out, and it's because they don't feel safe. They've padded their body. They've protected themselves with weight. And I'll work with them, but I'll also say, you should probably also talk to somebody, because this body that you're in isn't yours. You're you're padding. You're trying to protect yourself. So like the first day was safety. So I thought was, okay, cool. And the next day was releasing fear. And the next day was letting go, right? Because sometimes you hold on, and the next day was kind of judgment. You don't need people to, if you start losing weight, how are people going to perceive you? So they're just these general, generic concepts that then can manifest a body either one way or another. So you hit these letting go, I am safe, I am free, I am powerful, just these beautiful concepts every day. So I'm enjoying that immensely, this 21-day meditation. But it's I also think, a testament to how we're all evolving to that higher energy that Cryon said. We're not in that action base, I'm going to kind of hypnotize you while you're in your meditative state to work out harder and to eat the right food. While you're in that meditative state, I'm going to remind you that you are safe and your body is designed to be well, and you can let go of any blockages so that the well-being can flow to you. So I think even weight loss techniques, just to use that as an example, are evolving. Everything is going up to a higher frequency.
Exactly. When you were just talking, it brought me back to when you were demonstrating tapping.
Yes.
And you were choosing, and I think it was here where you were like, something about, I don't want to stand out. And then in the video you went, I didn't know it was in there. I didn't know it was in there.
Right.
And then when you're just talking about this program, this technique you're on, you're like, it wasn't what I thought. You said, just for an example, one would be like, what would it be like if what would I look like? What would people think of me if I lost weight?
Yes.
And it brought me back to that. So it's actually a great example of you having a moment where you were doing this and you shared it on video, like, oh, look at that. I don't want to stand out. Aha moment. And then this exact program showed up for you to address that aha moment.
Yeah. Like not to address the extra weight or as a side effect, but it could be tying into.
You had this oh, look at what I'm discovering. And within that, created an intention, and matter follows energy, intention of, that's something I'd like to sort of get to the bottom of or shift, right?
Yeah, we don't get to the bottom of it.
Right, because you never will. But to shift.
Yeah.
And then this program comes, you're like, I love how we're so innocent. We're like, oh, this looks like a cool thing. I think I know what it's going to be about. And the universe is like, remember that thing you said 3 weeks ago? Bam! We gotcha.
It's too cool. It's just too cool. It is. And so yet another thing that happened this week, because we get together and we just talk about things that are gone on in our life. Again, not having an agenda and seeing where it'll flow. Another fun thing. So the Abrahams that I have been listening to this week, I just put things on. I go through YouTube and I'll kind of do this, or I'll look at a picture that I like. And so while I'm cooking, while I'm doing laundry, while I'm tidying the house or brushing my teeth or getting ready for the day, I just have something uplifting going on in the background. Because what does Huberman say? Garbage in, garbage out, right? So I'm not going to listen to crap. I'm going to discuss these uplifting things. So I was listening to a YouTuber, I think her name is Scarlet Grace. She goes by the Unseen Seraph. And I happened on her just because I liked her voice. I'm very tuned into voice. She has just this very esoteric voice. It's interesting. but she had something for 5-day manifestation. Just try it out. I'll give you guidance for 5 days. Every day I will send you your task. So I did that, and I love the way she articulates things, and so I'm doing this 5 days of manifesting, and then just so happened there was one day, it was yesterday, to write down your fears, because you may be blocking the manifestation without even knowing it because of your fears.
Right. Yeah.
And it just so happened yesterday was a full moon. So you were supposed to, her instructions were, you write down your fears and you write down your crappy beliefs. The next day you write down your crappy beliefs and then you transform them into, you kind of beat them up and go, really, I believe that? I mean, honestly, that's so stupid. Of course the belief is actually this. But the fears, you would tear them up and burn them, which is a fantastic full moon exercise.
Totally.
So this little process that I was going through happened to line up that you released the fears on I just happened to be releasing my fears on the day of the full moon. Just to like leverage it.
Yes. That's great.
Fun stuff. Where are we at, Gabriella Bella, time-wise?
You guys are at like 25 minutes.
So we should wrap it up. So what do you think?
I think it's exciting. I find there's more people to have synergy with, meaning more people who, which is a good reminder. You don't have to, we don't have to stick around with people who don't get us. And it can be very visceral. I think we're having an awareness of the visceral nature of being in a conversation or communication relationship with a person who's like, that's what it feels like. It
is visceral. I'm finding I'm leaving rooms now more than ever.
Right, because talking calmly and in kindness and enthusiastically, like that's again what we do together. We come from different backgrounds, although we have our Italian thing. but there's differences and similarities. It's the way we communicate where we get excited. And before we came on, you were talking about how, and it could have been you talking over me or me talking over you, but it's not, we're not doing it to be rude. We're doing it because we're so excited to be together, which is different than people cutting someone off to not listen, to not believe, to discount, to discredit what they're saying.
Yes.
And the synergy is people getting together who are so excited. It's like we're piggybacking on each other. Yeah, but wait, but then this, and then, and we're building the elevation of like joy and bliss, which is very different than,
that's fantastic, because this week, someone came to me and I was coaching them, and I get excited, and they said to me, "You're cutting me off. Will you let me speak?" And I'm like, I didn't realize I was. I was just, I'm receiving some things that I think will be helpful to you, and I was just trying to get them out. And you're right, there was a visceral like, ooh, maybe this person isn't ready for my coaching. And there was, I'm like, I think I'm gonna move away from this scenario. Yeah.
Yes, because sometimes people, there's a fine line between, I want to be heard and listened to versus I want to stay in my stuckness and I want you to meet me where you will feel sorry for me and I can justify how wrong things are for me.
Yes. And
that's very different.
That's what this person was doing. And I was trying to get them out of it. And they're like, well, I just want to speak it. I'm like, yeah, but you've been speaking it for 20 minutes. We get the gist of it. Let's now shift. So yes. So the lessons for the week is I open, she closes. That's been the unsaid deal. I open, you wrap it up with a parting thought for the week.
I had a deer in the headlights look like, oh, right. Okay, hold on. I'm still in your story with this person. Wait, let me.
Sorry, I shifted.
Well, yeah, I think what we should say, coughing, burning things, noting your body in a loving way while allowing others to witness and express to you how beautiful you are, farting, walking away from people who don't match.
And there are the lessons for the week. Farting's right up there with all of them.
I'm moving energy, folks. I'm moving energy.
Along with other things. Along with that burrito.
What we want to say
I
is
guess
have
we're
fun.
done because we get
Have
the giggles.
fun.
Have fun.
Have
That's
fun.
the lesson for the week.
Yes,
Have fun.
have fun.
And as always,
More to be revealed.
Thank you for joining us on Expansive Minds podcast, Gateway to Freedom. Until next time, more to be revealed.